The Politics and War Awards for 2023, held in 2024. So, I don't like the awards. I never have. They're pretty corrupt, and they're all run by the same people from the same sphere. So, I could go on at length about all my complaints. However, none of my complaints seem to accomplish anything. So instead, I'm going to give my view on this year's awards, on who was nominated, who I think should win, and if they have, and so forth. So, for Player of the Year, they voted for Sketchy. I don't think I did when I voted earlier. I think I voted for someone else, probably Vanes or something. He had a pretty good year. Sketchy lost 2 wars this year, but he also went from being like non-existent to being the leader of a number 3 alliance. So actually maybe he does deserve it more. Most influential player, also going to between Sketchy and Vanes. I would probably say Sketchy. I think he actually has more influence right now than Vanes does, but it's a toss-up. Most likely to succeed in 2024. I would give this one to Sketchy, actually, because like he's lost 2 wars back to back, so he has to win some wars this year. But yeah, maybe Vanes also works. I think he's probably going to win another one, but even if he doesn't, like Eclipse is at its peak, so he's doing very well. Best Alliance Leader, they're giving this one to Vanes too. I think Vanes is also trying to like retire, so maybe not. Doesn't have much competition. Actually, I would say Schwinn. Schwinn has transformed TFP and made it into a real force. He is part of a triumvirate, which is a bit of a downside, but I mean, Vanes also rules with the team, so I know it works. I would give this to Schwinn. Worst Alliance Leader, Alan. The usual suspects have me at 50 votes versus his 90. It's probably the first time in a long time that I'm going to lose this one. No one else really comes close. I think Alan's decisively. Alan's not like the worst leader, actually. He does organize his people well. I think his big issue is that he involves himself in micropolitics, so the micros team up and roll him with some frequency. And that is, in part, his own doing. So, kind of deserved. I would probably give this one to more incompetent leaders or people who have done worse things, but whatever. Best in-character poster. I don't think I've seen anything from Dark. Oh no, he does propaganda videos. I guess that works. Best villain, Alan. He is trying to be a villain. Sketchy's also trying to be a bit villainous. I don't know, he comes across as quite a sympathetic character. Same with, I think even Dwight comes off as somewhat sympathetic. V is a very good villain, because actually I don't think anyone loves to hate him. I think people just don't like him. Piggy isn't a villain. They suck, but they're not a villain. Happy is a villain. They enjoy it. They have a lot of fun. I wouldn't put it as Alan, just because he doesn't necessarily want to be in that role. I'd probably go with Happy. I think they try and they have fun with it. They don't take it too seriously anymore, so that's good. Nicest player. I have not seen many of these people in ages. Maybe Decker. Decker's pretty polite. I haven't had a bad interaction with him in a very long time. Aside from that, maybe like Pika or something. They're protected by half the game. Most controversial player. Yeah, I'm not going to win this one. 32 votes for the first time in 3 or 4 years. That's crazy. Alan's not controversial. I think most people just don't like Alan. It also isn't controversial. Sketchy. Maybe he is the most controversial, actually. Thinking on it. Because, like, I think most of the things that Singularity does are kind of controversial. If I was personally going to pick, though, based on who I've seen and interacted with, I'd either go with Lysander or Toxic. Both of them extremely controversial. Like, if you go to different players in the game, they'll have wildly different opinions. Or myself, I guess. Because the lower tier likes me, the high tier does not. Very clear cut. Most missed player, probably, I mean, Red Army, obviously. But following him would probably be Ripper. Most of these other people, like, aren't truly gone, or they're bound to come back at some point. Best nation page, Dryad. Let's see. That's not that interesting. I would go with Impier's nation page, which might not be family friendly, but it is very well designed most of the time. And before, it's just total trash now. But it was pretty well designed at one point. Best fighter, I wouldn't say Borg. I haven't really looked at Borg's fighting. Maybe Dryad. Sam, though. Sam's really good in almost all conflicts. But he's a pirate, so it should... I mean, he leads the pirates. King of the pirates. That should be by default. Best high government member. I don't know much about Better. High Dude, maybe? He does pretty well. Bellini also seems competent, but I mean, they have like a four-man leadership team slash high government. I think he more classifies as a leader than high government. So by default, I do most likely to respond in 1 minute. Maybe Penpico? I don't know, Krampus responds pretty quick. Oh, I am 317. He's who I voted for. So he's a banker for YAR, and he processes transactions like instantly. CCT will like note stuff down in his big logbook, but IM sends them out. Against War Criminal, Papey. Evil Piggy wants to win this 100%, but they will always lose it to someone else. So best alliance for the alliance category. Let's see. Which are the top alliances of the year, or alliance of the year? Eclipse. Eclipse had a pretty great year. I wouldn't put Singularity down. They're an ally, but they lost 2 wars back to back. That is not a great year. Sure, they became a top 3 alliance this year, and they're leading in growth, but they still didn't have a good year. I don't think anyone did better than Eclipse. Maybe Carthago. Carthago had a pretty rough start to the year because they'd lost all their members and all their allies and all their money, and then they turned things around and bounced back. Most of the other alliances have had pretty mixed years, so it's either between Eclipse or Carthago in my mind. Most improved, not Eclipse. Eclipse was already succeeding. Nemesis, I think, has actually got worsened a bit. They had a pretty optimistic start to the year, and it's tapered off. TFP has improved a lot. Immortals has stagnated. They haven't done anything in like a year. UU's a lot stronger than it was at the start. Camelot's improved a ton. I mean, the City 20 update radically changed that alliance. Aurora lost nations, so I don't think they had a great year, or they improved much this year. I would say Carthago, definitively. I think they pull ahead. Best new merged alliance. Singularity by a mile, not even close. And that's pretty bipartisan. Even their enemies cannot refuse that. Cypher had a very rough merger. Serene Way shouldn't be on the list. I think Nemesis did well. I don't think they unmerged, but they might have. Hard to remember them all. Best rookie alliance, Weaponized Assault Penguins. I thought that started last year, in 2022. Whatever. They're very strong, so yeah, I'd say best rookie alliance. Sword Coast, also a really good option, or TGH I wouldn't put in that because they're an old alliance coming back. Same with a few of the other options. Best alliance for new players. I wouldn't put Eclipse. Eclipse is many things, but they are not like the new player alliance. They have like 255 members right now, which is very high, but like they're still not known for helping new people. ARG would probably be my pick. If I was to start out in the game, where would I want to be? I'd choose ARG. Singularity, also a very strong option, but you don't have as much room to move up the hierarchy in Singularity, because I think they have a lot of very competent government. Most likely to succeed in 2024, Eclipse. I would say Singularity is more likely to succeed because they've lost 2 wars, so they're guaranteed to win their next one, or at least some this year, I feel. It's very rare you lose 3 wars back to back. Most likely to be rolled in 2024, I would say Rose, because Rose has to be rolled every year just to sort of keep their growth in check. But aside from them, hard to say. It's anyone's game. Most honorable alliance. This is difficult. I would maybe Aurora. Actually, no, YAR. Definitely YAR. It's weird who was picked for this. It's like, TKR should not win this. No shot they should win this. Eclipse, I don't think has broken any treaties, but I don't feel like they really deserve... Oh, no, TFP. Yeah, they don't deserve this. YAR definitely deserves it. If they can hold everyone's money and not screw people over, they deserve most honorable. Best fighting alliance? It's not Eclipse. I don't think anyone's saying they're the best fighting alliance. The Singularity did very well. KT is also very renowned. Between the two, I would say KT has proven it for longer. So we'll see how Singularity does long term, but we'll go with KT for now. Worst fighting alliance. I argued for Camelot and Castle Camelot being the same because they tried to split them up, which would be basically targeting a specific part of a community and just blacklisting them as adding a black mark next to their name and saying, oh, these guys are the worst. Well, they're the worst in that alliance. That's why they're in a separate alliance. So you don't need to add, you don't need to pile on. That's already an issue. But if you were to add them all up, I think Camelot actually balances out at being slightly better than most of the people on this list. Brotherhood family, not great, but they did try. Black Skies is actually pretty good. They did put effort in most of their wars. It's just very unfortunate their odds against them were always super high because of poor diplomacy. Black Knights, not the best, but not the worst. Gato is notoriously bad. They lost to 20 people, and they have 70. House Stark, again, did very badly, but not the worst. Coal Mines, I fought them many times. They are not the worst fighters in the game. I think they're actually trying to win this one. I hope they do, because I don't like them very much, but still, probably not. Cypher's not the worst. Who is? Who is actually the worst of that list? Probably Brotherhood Family or Gato. I'd lean towards Gato, yeah. Because BF at least I think does know how to fight, is to some degree. I don't think Gato knows. Best Alliance growth. This should be a totally objective metric, and I'm pretty sure it goes to Rose. For some reason they're not winning. It's Singularity or Eclipse. That's so strange. Eclipse has whales, and that tiering looks kind of strange. Singularity's tiering is very condensed, so I go Singularity. Biggest Alliance decline, House Stark. Definitely agree. House Stark had everything going for them at the start of the year. They were in a good sphere. They were winning a war and getting debts back from Carthago. And then in the final stage, then they messed it up. And they demanded excessive reparations and lost the war, and consequently, all their allies. Best foreign affairs team would be Eclipse is pretty good, but I don't see much of them. Aurora is better. Grumpy's nice. Rose is nice. I'd say Rose. I think Rose does a lot of very secretive diplomacy. They don't speak much in public. They overall very professional. Ignoring them, then it would be someone like Grumpy, who I think has done quite well, at least on the team, not necessarily the moves they've made, but I haven't had any negative interactions with their new FA team. They're a lot more likable than SRD in some sense, but he was playing the villain very often. So, yeah, it didn't work. But he was a nice enough person. It's just, he was playing the villain, they're playing the nice guys. Good cop, bad cop. Best foreign affairs move, Cataclysm and Paradise merging. I don't know if that's a move. Immortal staying at peace. Formation of Odo, Sail, Whelp. Guardian dropping HS. Guardian and Grumpy parting ways is probably the best move. Like, that did wonders for the dynamism and development of the game's politics. Spice things up. Worst foreign affairs move? Every House Stark move? Yeah, probably. But specifically House Stark's initial peace terms. That's way worse. DCM blitzing nanos on Aqua and losing was funny, but it didn't, damage them that much. House Stark's actually wrecked them. Alliance with the best propaganda. Singularity has pretty good propaganda. I kind of prefer Aurora's on the whole. I think Aurora's has a bit more effort, but in terms of quantity, Singularity beats them, I think. Not counting in-game advertisements, which again, I think Aurora takes. So, personally, probably Aurora, but Singularity is also a very good, strong option. Most missed alliance. The Way is pretty, that's a pretty big loss, but they're also still around through Cypher. Paradise, I don't think people really miss it. Singularity is better. OWR is still around, and it sucks. And the people from OWR haven't returned to OWR, so I think even they know that. Mets HQ, only the Guardian people still miss it, and their allies. Pakistan, Arrow, Cataclysm, ASM. I think they have reason to miss their alliance, so we'll go with that. Best alliance flag. Eclipse's flag is not that interesting. Carthago has a pretty solid flag now. The Sword Coast, I don't know the camp version of their flag, but yeah, we'll go with Carthago. Their new flag is actually pretty fire. Best holiday flag. I haven't seen, WAP's Christmas flag with penguins was cool. I'm pretty sure Christmas flag with penguins. They should add the flags so I can see them. But whatever. Final list, and I actually get a vote on this one, because of the other ones I forgot my votes, or I remembered most of them, I think. I repeated the votes as we went. Funniest event. House Stark falling apart was pretty funny. Lysander buying Royal. So he spent 40 billion buying Royal from the leader of Carthago as he was rolling Carthago. And that funded Carthago's rebuild. Or they lost the money that they gained through the war, depending on your perspective. But it was still very stupid. Biggest controversy. This was pretty controversial. Everything House Stark. Stealing API keys. That actually started a huge conversation because people didn't really know what to make of it. Alex was very clear that the new API key system worked, that if you gave your API key away and someone used it to steal resources or to gather information, you risked it by giving it away. And I think he reinforced that, and it was very controversial because people didn't think that was right. Best declaration of war. Let's see. This was fun, I think. The one against House Stark. Oh, actually, Yu. That was classic. So Yu was being raided by Knights Templar, and there was a bunch of religious nonsense happening, and Yu stuck up for themselves and bloodied the nose of KT. It's a very fun war. A lot of stupidity, but it was very fun. It was cool to see Katie get shown up at one point. Darkblade, I think even they took that in jest. So why Portis was dead during peace? No. This was pretty boring, I think. Sorry, Darkblade. I think I phased it out, or I ignored it. Yeah, shock horror. The game's boring in peace. Traditional government. This was somewhat interesting. I think he's wrong about some of his arguments. It was at least interesting, and I got some traction. I feel like Robert's earlier post on like how when you try and develop the game was good, but I don't think that's the one that they nominated. Acknowledging the good with the bad. The posts that should be here, I think there's actually 100 posts that should be here but aren't. They're basically ones about how the game's econ needs to change, or how the culture of the game, which I guess this tackles somewhat. I guess I'll go with this, because at least this is more like comprehensive than Thalmor's, and it does address the elitism problem of the game. All the Singularity leaks, anything from Cypher, all the Cypher leaks were wild. Cypher vote of no confidence, Camelot. Our guides are basically public at this point. Like, I make a lot of guides, so, I mean, is the whole channel a giant leak? Maybe. We'll go with anything from Cypher. Best meme, I don't know about that. Insane. I don't know what that is, but there have been some pretty, like, good emotes that people spam, the serious one. So, we'll go with this. Insane or the serious meme or whatever. Best Discord server. OCN, I think, actually outperformed Ron this year. Royal is not that good anymore. Arguably, it was never good, but it's not done well this year. Actually, I don't visit any of these servers. I guess I can just go with the PNW server. Yeah, de facto victory, because all of them sucked. Best ad. They didn't put any of the controversial ones. These are so boring, but I guess Serene Way. Best community contributor. Damn, I didn't even get named. That's rough. You can make a ton of videos about the game, but no. Disappointing. Borg. All of his bots and stuff has really helped the game. Best new addition to the community. It's not Inst, and people need to stop voting for him. I don't know how he's convinced people to vote for him. I'll go with Austin because I like him, and he's from my alliance. But it could be anyone from this list. It sort of depends on what sphere you're in. I'm in this one, but I won't vote for myself. That'd be rude. Odd. Who's the best voice? We'll go with that. Represent the Aussies. We'll go with, yeah. Any other good options? I haven't heard some of these people, to be fair. Yeah, we'll go with Sketchy, that the Aussies represent. And in contrast, what the, what the real, quote-unquote, majority thinks compared to me. House Dark, yep, that's correct. Think Smother Nap, that's just a political thing. Like, no one really gave a shit about Eclipse trying to sign a 6-month nap. Like, people have done that stuff before. Best Declaration of War, Eclipse on Odo. Let's see. I don't think this was that, like, interesting at the time. Yeah, they just put a bunch of random memes. Best Wall of Text, could be any of them. Singularity, again, it's just political. I don't even remember what the Singularity leaks were. I think they were logo stuff. Best meme, I actually don't know what Insane is, but if it's anything like serious, then sure. Best Discord, Royal is, yeah, not winning this one. At least not decisively. So that shows you something. Ad, pretty meh. Community contributor, whoever created Insane. I don't know what Insane is, still. Best new addition to the community. Yeah, it's not Inst. Stop voting for Inst. And for the voices, anyone's game. So the awards are kind of interesting this year. I think the final outcome will be a mix of, the mass majority vote versus the elite vote, the secret ballot for the alliances. I don't like the secret ballot. I think the secret ballot is always extremely political. People buy and sell votes. I've witnessed people trading votes, even this time around. I've been asked to trade votes this time around. It's ridiculous. I don't approve of it, but I don't think we're ever going to fix it, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to stop complaining eventually. Yeah. So we'll see how the final tally comes out like. It's kind of unfortunate that there's two different sets of votes now, the alliance vote and the mass majority vote, because you don't have definitive winners. And it's really hard to then award people in-game badges or icons when the awards aren't definitive. It could be one or multiple people. And they don't combine them at the end. It's not like a weighting system like they initially proposed it would be. So whatever. I hope the people that won wanted to win, and because some of the awards are not the nicest, and that they feel like their work was respected. And for those that missed out, they can try again next year. I think the awards are a very good opportunity to sort of reflect on the past year and to try and advertise the game, but they aren't really meeting that potential. So I'll probably look at trying to do something to remedy that at some point, or to replace that function, maybe. I think my videos already sort of accomplished that, highlighting the interesting and important events of the year. Yeah, that was my opinion on the awards in a more positive way than my usual condemnation of them. Thank you for watching.